This is Coach's Corner with ECISD Athletic Coordinator Todd Vesely.
Welcome back to the Coach's Corner. In this segment, we're going to visit with Gary Gaines, head coach of the Permian Panthers. Welcome back to the show, Coach.
Thank you.
Coming off of another exciting week.
It was an exciting week. Our Tascosa game didn't start out exactly the way we had envisioned it. Defensively, I thought for the whole four-quarter game against Tascosa, they played extremely well. And Tascosa did some things blitz-wise and with some line stunts early on in that game that we didn't adjust to very well. And we tried to make the adjustments on the sideline, and it really ended up taking all the way to halftime before we could get them on the board and calm them down and show them what they were doing. And many of the things that we had worked on in practice, but not at the tempo and the speed at which, those scout teamers just don't work as fast as a varsity group. And so second half we did a lot better, but really and truly the defense and our special teams really kept us in the clear. They scored a legitimate touchdown, got their first score, and then they picked off a pass late in the first half and ran it down inside the 10, or got down inside the 10 eventually, and we came up with about a 20-yard sack right at the end of the first half, which kept them out of field goal range and really gave us some momentum going into the half, and finally we got our offense untracked in the second half and really monopolized the time on the clock and were pretty efficient scoring.
What a defensive performance to keep Dalton Brooks, who was, I believe, their leading rusher and has been one of the district's leading passers. The defense held him in check all night. I believe he had 2 yards rushing by the end of the game.
He had 2 yards rushing. We had 4 tackles for losses. We had 4 quarterback sacks on Dalton. And, Robert Murray had 2 pass breakups that were big key passes down in their end of the field and in our end of the field, And but I just thought the whole defense just really played fast. They played smart and really kept Dalton in check. And that was a big key because, as we said last week, 80% of their offense he had generated up to our game. So we knew that he was going to be kind of their feature guy.
And he's everything he's cracked up to be, isn't he? He's quite an athlete.
He's a very fine athlete, not very big. He's 5'10" probably and 170, but has really good quickness, good speed. Got outside or contained sometimes on some scrambles and made some key first downs in that first half. And but I thought all in all our defense really played extremely well.
They did a great job Friday night. And the second half, the offensive line seemed to have, you said, controlled some of those blitzes and really started to take some control of the game.
They did, and I think that we're at our best when we have some balance between the run and the pass, and when we were able to establish the running game in the second half, then obviously we were able to get some big plays through the air. Felix Nebo caught a pass from Landry Serrano, and that was a big play. Tommy Morris scored a touchdown, in our goal line package, and he's a wide receiver playing tailback in that deal, and Tommy weighs about 210 or 15. That's what he says he weighs. Maybe more than that, I don't know. But that was a big play, and then Stephen Pipe scored that last touchdown on a little quarterback keeper, a little option play. So I was proud of our offense in the second half coming back and playing much better than they did in the first half. They knew that they had not played up to their potential in the first half and were disappointed at halftime, and they rebounded very nicely. And Taylor Martin was 3 for 3 on his point after touchdowns, and so it was a good offensive performance in the second half.
Boy, you take those point afters for granted, don't you, Coach, until you miss one.
You do, and sometimes it's automatic, and when you start thinking that way is when you up and get one blocked or you get a bad snap, and it's a lot of moving parts on that thing.
And those are important points.
They are very critical points.
Those are important points. Well, let's look forward to this coming Friday. Midland High comes to town, and there are those that have said they're perhaps the most talented team in the district.
I don't know that they're not the most talented team in the district. They changed defenses this year, and their defense, I think, is just really playing well right now. I think they've gotten better and better each and every week that I've watched, in the last month. Offensively, Bolger's a good quarterback. Their tailback last week ran for over 150 yards against Odessa High, and he's a good player. And of course, Goodley is just number one. He's a wide receiver that is a kick returner, and he's probably one of the best players in the district, if not the best. And he signed with Baylor to play football for them next fall. And Johnson on the other side is a good receiver too. So they have a good offense that is really balanced between an I formation and a spread. They kind of merge those two offensive schemes together, and it kind of is a two-headed monster because you got to play power football on one extreme and then spread out football on the other extreme. And defensively, Odessa High really attacked them well, but they played Odessa High very tough. They didn't. That was a game that they set out to win. You could tell they were highly motivated, and obviously with them needing a victory against us on Friday night, their guns will be loaded again, and we should and we better be anticipating a very physical, hard-fought football game.
Coach, as we spent the weekend going through all of the different scenarios, it appears that Permian is in the playoffs, and for a number of years in a row now, and congratulations.
Thank you.
And that's a great thing, very exciting. How do you handle that and having to focus on Midland High, who has their back against the wall?
Well, our focus is all extremely 100% on Midland High. We don't, this is a game, we want to have some momentum going into the playoffs, and to have that, I think a victory is pretty much important. Not that you can't overcome it. If you lost the game, you could still rebound, but I just think it's great for morale and for those types of things to win this last game. And it will be a tough game, and we'll have to play extremely well to beat them. And they have the motivation, and our motivation is just to try to get better this week like we did last week, and have a good week of preparation, and do our best to win it, and have some momentum going into the playoffs.
Coach, as the year started to take shape, we talked a little bit about getting better each week and improving each week, and we seem to see some of those things happening.
I think defensively we have, and I think our special teams in the last month, 5 weeks, I think you've seen tremendous improvement. And I think we had offensively until the first half last week. And once we kind of got the adjustments made, I thought we did what I thought we could do against Tascosa offensively. And playing offensive line is the hardest position on the field to play. There's no question about it. Those guys, if those guys were just statues over there or dummies that were just standing up, it would be easy to pick out your guy and know who to block. But they did a lot of looping and twisting and stunning, and had us confused for a while. But our coaches really did a good job settling them down and kind of getting them located. And I thought we did much better in the second half.
You alluded to it a little bit. That happens very quickly down on that offensive line. It all happens in just a few seconds, doesn't it?
It really does, and typically defensive linemen are faster and quicker than offensive linemen, and playing an offensive line is probably the hardest position on the football field to play. And there's just a lot of things they have to remember. They have to remember their blocking assignment, and that blocking assignment can change with one person moving in front of them or to the side of them, and know the snap count, and know if the quarterback's called an audible. And there's a lot of communication that takes place up front with our linemen. And at the same time, they're communicating. They've got to hear what the quarterback's saying in the back end too, so that they don't have a bust. But we're getting better, and that's what we set out to do each and every week, is improve, and hopefully we'll see improvement this week.
Coach, we anticipating a big crowd out at Rattler Friday.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
It should be exciting, shouldn't it?
Sure should.
Well, Coach, congratulations on securing a playoff berth and on improving week to week.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thanks for coming on.
You're welcome.
And this concludes this portion of the Coach's Corner.